Welcome to the ANEW Body Insight Podcast, empowering and inspiring your journey to optimal health. Hosted by Dr. Supatra Tovar, clinical psychologist, registered dietitian, fitness expert, and author of Deprogrammed Diet Culture. Rethink your relationship with food, heal your mind, and live a diet-free life. And Chantal Donnelly, physical therapist and author of Settled, How to Find Calm in a Stress-Inducing World. Here at City Club Los Angeles, we follow our guests' journey to optimal health, providing you with the keys to unlock your own wellness path. Tune in and evolve with us. Welcome back to the ANEW Body Insight Podcast. We are back for the second half of our interview with Natalie J. Clayton, personal development coach. And we are here at City Club Los Angeles. Welcome back, Natalie.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Yay.
I'm so honored to be here.
We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Natalie gave us some background about her time in law enforcement and the health scare that she went through, what she went through with her son, and her transition toward helping others achieve their goals. We are very eager to learn more. So, Natalie, you are the current chair of the Women of City Club Committee. Tell us about the work that you do, because you have a particular mission that I resonate very much with.
The work that I do, first of all, everyone who is a member of the City Club LA, if you're a woman, you are an automatic member of the City Club of LA, and it is open to men as well. I've had a lot of men ask me if they can attend, and because they're a little bit intimidated because it says Women of City Club, but it's for men and women.
Yes.
But it's a committee to support women and their mission, networking and support and friendships, whether it's for your business, your career, or maybe even your personal life. And the City Club is a business club first, but it's also a place where people can build relationships. And so my chair position is a 2-year position. And I was appointed in January 1st, 2024. And so my mission and my goal this year is wellness, holistic,
Yes.
Health, wellness, and healing,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that you can have all the money in the world, you can have all the success in the world, but if your temple is not healed, whole, and recovered from whatever it needs to be recovered, is pointless.
Yes.
Because health is wealth,
Mm-hmm.
and just bringing in programs to help us, women and men, to live a vital life.
Yes.
Yes. So, and we have 2 signature events. We had our first signature event in March, and it was for Women History Month. It's called the Outstanding Women of City Club,
Mm-hmm.
and we honor women who are members and their contributions to not only to the City Club, but in their careers and within the community. So that was an amazing event that we had.
I was there. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was
I loved
amazing. It was wonderful. And so our next event that we have is a part 1 of a part 2, Women, Health, and Wellness. And we're going to have Dr. Gail Jackson. She is a renowned OBGYN, certified board OBGYN medical doctor, and she's been in practice for over 25 years.
Wonderful.
She is known as the doctor who have birthed a lot of celebrity babies, and but her mission is to help women who are going through menopause, perimenopause, whatever. If you have issues with your hormones or you have different issues in your life, to help you balance your hormones, men and women, and to recover and to live a vital life.
Absolutely. And this is an area I think that is just for women in midlife. They feel consistently, underutilized,
Right.
Researched.
Mm-hmm.
They feel kind of cast aside by the medical establishment. So
Right.
it's really wonderful that you have this event coming.
Yeah, so that's going to be on Wednesday, May 22nd, and her team is a sex coach, Tiffany Yalverton, and she talks about how, you know, sex and having orgasms are important in life, and it is, you know, however form or shape, you know, you have them. But so it's going to be, the topic is called Let's Talk About Sex, and it's a marriage between hormone, sex, and a vital life.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be really, really good.
Me too.
And Dr. Gail happens to be my doctor because I will be 60 this year. And
you couldn't tell
I know,
from
right?
looking at her.
I have to wrap my brain around, like, I'm really turning 60. Even my
No.
son was like, Mommy, I can't believe you're turning 60. I'm like, watch it. No, but no, I mean, I welcome it, especially with all the things I've gone through in my life. And I'm just like, wow, this is, to me, the 60 is a new 30s. And it's however you look at yourself.
Just look at her.
And your life and how you take care of yourself is really, really important.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And then the second part will be our very own Yen Wing.
She was on our podcast.
She was on our podcast, Reiki master, and she's going to teach yoga. And we'll probably have one more guest come in as well. We're not sure, but that will be July 19th. We have a book circle for authors. We kicked it off last year, and it was, you know, you know, why it's important to write a book, your story, and, you know, if you should use a publisher, self-publishing, and then a third section will be how to monetize and market your book.
Well, that's very convenient because I'm coming out with a book in September. So
that was very, very important. And the strategies behind it. Let's see what else we're going to have. We're going to collaborate with community engagement for Adoption Day, National Adoption Day in November. We are also going to have Unstoppable Women, which was brought a new event where we honor women who are not members of the City Club, but they're outstanding women in the LA County. And we try to bring in women who are non-traditional. And we just want to know, you know, what makes them unstoppable and what their contributions to, you know, the city of LA County. And this is the type of roadblocks that they may have faced in their careers, whether it's their career or their entrepreneurs, and how you can be unstoppable.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. And speaking of books, you yourself wrote a bestseller. It's called
I did.
Awaken the Leader Within, 15 Steps to Shine Your Light.
Yeah.
Tell us about this book. What was your inspiration? And just let us know, what are some of the steps that we can take to shine our own light?
My inspiration. Well, I'm going to go back to when I was giving my testimony at my friend's church. And because I never thought I would write a book. I'm like, it never dawned on me to write a book. And when I was giving my testimony, I don't know if you're familiar with church. It's one of the elders of church. He's just like, you know, when you were giving your testimony, this is what was dropped in my soul, my spirit, that the Lord told me and was talking to me and telling me, you need to write a book. And I'm looking at him like, what? He goes, you need to write a book to help people. And I was just looking at him, and I thought, okay. And he says, but you need to do a video first and then write the book, and God will provide provision. And I'm just looking at him, and I was like, what? You know, I'm trying to figure out what book. So, you know, because my son's story is so phenomenal, how he overcame so much. So I was going to I thought about writing a book about him, but I don't want to take away his story. And so I just was pondering, what does this mean? What video, you know? And anyway, 10 years later, I finally wrote the book, and I was trying to figure out how to write the book. It's on leadership and how just awaken the leader within, and to be able to overcome challenges. But I wanted to write a book that was short and to the point. I'm going to write a second book, which will be my legacy book, and it will go in more in detail about my life, about my gifts, about being in law enforcement, about working undercover, about having to sue for discrimination,
Oh, wow.
sexism, all the things that you can possibly think of in the male-dominated field, and just what transitioned me to who I am today. And so, but this book it's just a quick read. It's 15 steps, and it came to during COVID, I was just trying to figure out, what do I need to convey to people so that something that's quick, something that's a reference to, if they're in a funk or they're in a foxhole or they're in a sunken place, how can I just give them some tools that they can, just go through really quick? Oh man, like be the light. That's step 15, or modeling love. And it just, after watching COVID and all of the craziness that was happening, that's already been happening, but I think everyone had a chance to really be still and pay attention to what's been going on for many, many, many years. And there was no excuse for you not to look at and see what was happening in real life. And so I wrote it for people who are working in corporate America, government, in every area of government. If you're an entrepreneur, just steps to help people to be better. And so
let me ask you this. You have some very interesting steps, and I'd like to get a little bit more information on that. What about step 2? Step 2 is catalyst for change.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. What does that mean?
Again, when COVID happened, I'm going to reference this because I don't remember everything. When COVID happened, I was like, there needs to be a change. And I believe that COVID wasn't just something that just happened. I believe it was a way for people to just be still. I think it was a way. We can't do things the way we used to do things, at least in my perception. And so a catalyst for change means that whoever you are, whether you are the CEO, from the CEO down to the security guard or custodian, you can be a catalyst for change for the good. And it just talks about uncertainty. Like the first sentence I said, change is a certainty in life. But it helps people to transform if you want to be transformed. That's I think that's the most powerful decision that a person can make, is that you can change your situation and circumstances, and you can be a catalyst for change in your life, in someone else's life. But that person or the individual person has to have the willingness to change.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. What about, I like the title of this, Mind Your Courage.
Oh, yeah. So mind your courage, meaning have the courage. It's having the courage to stand up and not only for yourself, but for other people. Sometimes the loudest voice is not always the strongest person. Sometimes it could be the weakest link. And in law enforcement, we would always use that as a cliche. Whoever's the weakest link will destroy the whole team. And so, but just have the courage to stand up for yourself and maybe someone else if they don't have a voice for themselves.
I love that. And
what step is that one? I forget.
That's a wonderful step. What about, and I think that this probably applies to so many of us, perception versus truth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's step 6. Well, I think that, let's look at this. Well, I have an example. I said, for example, when you are a supportive member of a team, and mind you, I wrote this with a mindset for teams, for individual people, corporate America, government entities. When you're a supportive member in a team, group, relationship, or in a marriage, your ideas and concepts are easily accepted. It's a wonderful environment because to be your authentic self and to have a sense of belonging is powerful. So, people have this perception of themselves, whatever it may be. Maybe it's you don't feel good about yourself or whatever. But then what's the truth? And your truth can even and be your authentic self, with your ideas and your skills, to contribute to relationships, um, uh, factors that show up in your life, um, to help you to be successful.
Right.
And so I use like 3 areas that are great attributes are psychological safety, meaning of work, and impact of work. So I wrote that with the idea of working in an organization and just people having perceptions of people, making judgments against people because they're just looking at them for what they see,
Right.
but they're not seeking the truth of an individual person.
Right. I deal with that all the time in psychology because based on what has happened in their childhood, they develop a persona, they develop a certain idea of themselves. And oftentimes, especially if they're seeking therapy, it's something negative.
Right.
And like their main core belief or their thought is, I'm not worthy, or I'm worthless, or I'm not good enough. I see that all of the time.
Right.
And you say that enough times based on what happened in your childhood, and you think that that has become your identity.
Right.
But when you really examine the truth of that, and you examine, who do you have in your life, who is supporting you, who loves you, when they start to see and shift their perspective to what's actually the truth, they tend to change that thought. And when you change that thought, I think it's the most powerful thing of all, because you realize you're not your thoughts. You can actually tap into the core of who you are, all of your wonderful qualities, and be that.
Absolutely. Yeah. My dad was a psychologist, so
so I'm
so I grew up with speaking my dad's language. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
No, but it's very true. Yeah. And it goes back to mindfulness of exactly what you're speaking to. So
absolutely. Well, let me ask you this: if you were to look back, what piece of knowledge or advice do you wish you had when you were just starting out?
In which area? As an entrepreneur or as a police officer?
Both.
Let's see. I'll start off with a police officer. I had no idea what I was getting into. I was on a mission. When I became a police officer, my goal was to retire as a captain. And I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but I couldn't drink the Kool-Aid. There's a certain type of system that's in place in that
it's a
line
culture.
of work. It's a culture, and so I just couldn't do it. But in hindsight, now when I remove myself from that career, maybe you could have, maybe you could have done some things differently. But I was always a person that I believed in being authentic, and integrity was really, really important to me. And so I saw some things that just didn't mirror with me very well. And so maybe be a little bit different, not as direct, and say things to people, because I was like, okay, I'm going to call a spade a spade. And and now I'm like, maybe you could have did it differently.
Did it cause strife and drama?
No, I think people had a respect for that, but it let's see, I'm trying to be politically correct here. There is a culture in that field of work, and I'm an outspoken person, and I'll just leave it at that. And I didn't put my blinders up. If I saw something that I didn't like, I would speak to it, and some people didn't like that. So anyway.
So in retrospect, you might have not spoken?
Well, no, I would have spoken, but probably in a different way. Yeah, in a different way. But I'm content with what happened to me. I believe that what happened to me in my life was a pivoting point for me to move out of that career. And let's see, as an entrepreneur with my company, I think I probably would have. It's interesting because transitioning from government entity for 30 years and then being an entrepreneur, I had a uniform on. I'm like, people were like, and I sold real estate, and I was a professor and all that wonderful stuff. I did the things I thought I wanted to do when I retired, and I didn't know about marketing. And people were like, "What's your marketing skills?" I'm like, "Marketing, I just show up. People know who I am." That was my mindset because I was a police officer, and so I didn't have to market myself. I would walk into a room and people knew who I was. So that was something I would change and work differently. And then having a business, because it's like when you're working for a government entity, things are just everything is set up, and then when you're working for yourself, you're like, oh shoot, I have to do all this stuff. And so that was a huge awakening for me. And so I would do that differently. I would have planned a little bit better.
You just kind of barreled into it.
Yep, I just went into
your
it.
Instinct told you to do it, and then you were like, I should have a plan.
Yeah. That part.
But things happen as they should. I really feel that that's true. So you're here and you're doing your thing, and it sounds like people are loving it.
Yeah.
However, if someone did try your approach and it didn't work for them, what would you suggest for them?
Well, it depends on the situation. I think it depends on if they invested in themselves. When you work with me, you're going to have homework assignments. There's things you're going to have to do individually. My role as a coach is to help you. I'm a visionary, so I help you see things that you can't see, but I can't do it for you. So a lot of times, before I became a certified coach, I was blowing up everyone's balloon. And then the air would go out, and then I'm exhausted because I'm trying to do this for that person. And so my advice for people is like, well, what did you define what you wanted, and did you take the steps? My suggestion, my role as a coach is just to help you see things, and I'm your accountable partner, but you have to put in the work. And so I would ask them to evaluate themselves, and if they invested in themselves and put in the work. And then people have to figure out what they need to do from that point. It's not my job to tell them what they should do, but I will ask them to do an assessment of their decisions and their behaviors. Did they do X, Y, and Z? Did they pour into themselves? And they will come up with that own result. Yeah.
And if they don't, they just most likely have to get out of their own way,
right?
And find
absolutely,
a way to
and find
that.
a way. Yeah, and not everybody is for everyone. I think, but you have to find that. You have to find your way.
Yeah, but it sounds like what you do is help them see the bigger picture,
right?
Help them get out of their way,
right.
And encourage them to find their path. I think, as a therapist, that's what we do too.
Yeah.
It's, very, very similar.
It is very similar.
Yes,
it is
definitely.
Very similar, yes.
Well, we would love to open up to the audience to ask any question of Natalie. Does anybody have anything that they would like to ask Natalie? Don't be shy. Come on up. Think of something. And there's a microphone right there. So just, yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
I'd like to know where we get the book.
Oh, okay. You can purchase it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and I think it's on one more bookstore. I can't think of it right now, but Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Yes.
Wonderful. Anyone else? No questions? Oh, yay.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Good. Tell me again the name of your coaching company.
Oh, it's Tilt Synergy Incorporated. So Tilt stands for Transformational Integrated Leveraging Team, because together our synergy, we work together, our energy and synergy to transform your life to whatever it wants to be, whether it's in your personal life, professional life, whatever issues you may have or things you need to have help and to overcome.
That sounds amazing. So I can just, is it a .org? I might look you up online. Or
It's www.tiltsynergyincorporated.com. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we know how to find you. Wonderful. It looks like we have another question. Come on down.
Okay. I'm really curious. You have so much certainty, it sounds like, with your faith, and that sounds like such a source of strength for you when you're going through so much in your life. But at the same time, and it's hard to go through things and not have some sense of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how did you make space, or maybe you didn't, I don't know. I'm just really curious about how you may have balanced that, or how you kind of held that tension of certainty in your faith, and then also not really knowing how things were going to work out.
That's a good question. Like I was saying before, I there were times when I cried, but I never thought of why me. I thought of why not me, and because I just believed. I mean, I was scared to death, I'm telling you. When I first got the diagnosis, I told you I cried for 30 minutes, and I thought, oh my God. And then my faith kicked in. And there were times when I did break down. I mean, I would look at my hands like, my hands are black. What is going on here? My feet are black. But I just kept thinking, I'm going through. It's something I'm going through. I'm not going to stay here. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you go to the gym and you're working out, you're trying to reach a goal. And there's no difference. It's like, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds or whatever. I wanted to be healed. And I just kept relying on my faith in God. I would talk to God all the time. Hey, it's me, your daughter, And then I had a wonderful, supportive family. And I made a conscious effort to not, there were things that came up in my mind, but I just I couldn't stay there. And, I can't say that I was just like this perfect, person. And every time, every day it was a moment of not thinking, doubting and being afraid. I just think I learned to, okay, I'm fearful. This might happen. This could happen, but then I choose this. So it goes back to a choice. You make a conscious choice of what you want to show up in your life. Yeah.
It sounded like you had to kind of battle some demons back. Uncertainty is bound to take you off of your track, and it sounds like you had a laser focus. I'm going to heal myself. Mm-hmm. My son is going to heal. I'm going to transition out of law enforcement. I am going to go toward helping people, and especially helping people who've survived cancer.
Right. Well, I can tell you, I ran from it. I didn't. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm like, you know what? Listen, I'm healed. You know what? I'm gonna go sit over in the corner and figure out what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So it was. Like I said, I had to peel onion layers. Mm-hmm. And I never forget my holistic practitioner, because this is my thing. She was like, oh, you need to stay home. And I was like, okay, well, I need to heal. And so I said, I'm not going to go back to work. I made a conscious decision not to go back, mm-hmm. because I had a chance to realize that it was so toxic. Mm-hmm. And the environment that I was in, there were so many carcinogens that I was exposed to. I investigated meth labs. And before we signed on, they told us, you're going to be exposed to all these carcinogens and you might get cancer. I never thought about that, because I was worked out. My mother, when I got cancer, my mother was like, I thought out of all my kids, there's 5 of us. She said, I never thought that you would get cancer. I was like, I was always an athlete. I always was conscious about what I ate, what I consumed. Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes things happen to pivot you, mm-hmm. and to move you to a place where you need to be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there were times I would break down and cry, and I'm like, oh my God, how can I get through this? And I would snap out of it,
Well, we're so glad you did, and we're so glad you're here.
You too.
Doing what you're doing. Unfortunately, we're out of time. And we have just so enjoyed
Thank
just
you.
listening to your story. It was so inspiring to hear how you overcame so much adversity.
Yeah.
You came out of a toxic work culture and you created your own, and you're helping people move forward in their lives
Right.
and achieve their dreams and their goals. So
Right.
we're very grateful, and we're so grateful to have you as our chair at
Thank
City
you.
Club.
I'm so honored. It's such an honor.
Yay.
Thank you.
So
Such an honor to be here too. Thank you so much.
absolutely.
It's not about me.
absolutely.
It's about how I can inspire a person.
And
to,
that's the goal of this podcast.
Yeah, to move forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for tuning into the ANEW Body Insight Podcast at City Club Los Angeles. We look forward to our next exciting interview and hope you join us next time. Thank you, everyone.
Yay, thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the ANEW Body Insight Podcast. Please remember, the content shared on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. You can find us anywhere podcasts are streaming, on YouTube at my.anew.insight and at anew-insight.com under the ANEW Body Insight Podcast tab. Follow us on our socials at my.anew.insight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more updates. Tune in next time and evolve with us.